Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show with your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, speaking and interviewing leading experts in business. Today, I have the most incredible guest, Tammy Sorrento. Tammy is a private investigator, and our topic for today is stopping scams before they happen. Tammy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mark. This is a pleasure.
I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with you today, Tammy. Before I get started, I'm just going to make a little disclaimer that you won't be offering legal advice or legal assistance today. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely, Mark. What I do is I am educating consumers on how to avoid scams, but keep in mind, these are my tips, my experience, and my knowledge, but they are not legal in any means.
We're looking forward to hearing your knowledge, hearing your tips and wisdom, Tammy. So let's get started with the show. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about your business, yourself, and stopping scams before they happen?
Absolutely. So I am Tammy Sorrento, and I started a business over a year and a half ago called Fireball Approves. Now, I understand that that doesn't really tell what I do, but that was strategic. And that's because right now I am concentrating on real estate scams, specifically rentals. And if you read any articles on millennials, they are renting much longer than actually buying real estate. So I have a huge market that I protect. I protect consumers when they are renting for vacation, when they are renting short term, like traveling medical professionals. Their assignments are 13 weeks long. So they are changing their residence 4 times a year. And they are also targets for scammers. I also am protecting consumers when they are renting long term. As a matter of fact, I saved a single mom that was looking for a rental, and she sent me the ad. And I determined through my tools that the common public does not have, and that this home that she was looking at was actually a home in foreclosure. So rental scams are just increasing. And my mission is to make sure that this situation does not happen on my watch.
That's a great answer, Tammy, and we all need to be protected, and in the long run it's for our own safety and will save us money. Who are your customers, Tammy? Who do you serve?
I serve a wide range. And actually, when I started because I was actually in this situation. So, like many business owners, I developed what I needed. And that is just the most fulfilling situation to be in. And I'll give you a quick synopsis of what happened to me that opened my eyes. I was looking for a vacation rental for my family's annual reunion. And because of the home sharing network, that has provided a economical vehicle for my family to get together as we are all spread out. If we were all paying for hotel rooms that you're spread out, um, probably we would not get together as much. But because of the home sharing, we can rent a home, have a pool, the children are together, so the cousins get to know each other, and we are creating the best memories for all of us. So, my situation, I was looking for a rental for our reunion, and we had thought about going to Key West. Now, here's a red flag and a tip. If you're looking to rent a place, please don't wait until the last minute. And that was a situation that we were in. So I contacted an advertiser, and because of my experience in insurance, I know the red flags. And this advertiser was very astute in what they were doing. As a matter of fact, in the US, we have public records. So if you do a search on a property appraiser site, you can plug in the address and you can see the owner of that property. Now, keep in mind that not every state has public records. California does not. So the common consumer is not going to have access to that information. So I was able to Google Map. I knew that the structure was there. I did the property appraiser site, so I knew the name of the owner. But in dealing with the advertiser, that was the one thing I could not connect, even though obviously this scammer had also gone to the property appraiser site because they created an email in the name of the proper owner. So, someone other than me, that I am just naturally cynical because of my background, they would not think twice about trusting this advertiser. But I explained to the advertiser, I said, I cannot take the chance of bringing my grandchildren to a location and us not having an accommodation. So this advertiser, the scammer, he sent me some invoices that looked just like what he had developed for me. And he took off the phone number. So I spoke to a victim from Chicago, and she said, first off, I cannot believe that he actually gave you my information. She said, because that was a scam. She said that her and her husband had flown from Chicago to Key West over New Year's Eve weekend, and the place was locked up. She couldn't reach the advertiser. So her and her husband had to get other accommodations over New Year's Eve weekend. And instead of just feeling the relief that I was not a victim, I thought to myself, you know what? Not everyone has the skills that I have because of my experience. So Fireball Approves was born, and my passion is helping people. And this has just been an incredible experience for me.
It sounds like they picked on the wrong person, Tammy, because you're prepared and you know all about scams. You had your eyes open. But for those people that haven't got your skills and your knowledge, that could have really caused a lot of harm, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I asked the lady that I was speaking to in Chicago, and I said, okay, so you use PayPal and you used your credit card. I said, you got your money back, right? Here's what she explained to me, and this is why I started my business. She said it took 6 months for the credit card to refund her money because they considered that person to person and not person to business. And that is what gave me the motivation, because I don't know a lot of people that could pay for a week vacation, then have to come up with accommodations at the last second on a holiday that the entire island of Key West was probably booked, and then wait 6 months for your refund. I just don't know a lot of people that could be patient with that. So that is my mission, to take the guesswork, to give peace of mind. And in addition, when I find scammers, when people give me the ads and I research them, if they are scammers, then I turn those over to the FBI.
So you are doing great work, and what a great mission, because it could lead to so much upset. So it's great that you are there to help people through this process. Tammy, do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business?
And that was the situation. Literally, it was like the train had left the station. After this happened, I thought, I have to help others. I do have the skills, I do have the experience, and there is no one else doing this. So I immediately, after I saw that there was a need for this service, I created it. I became a private investigator. I immediately thought of my name. I developed my business plan, and the acceptance of what I'm doing I know every day when I wake up that I am fulfilling a need. And I even price my service low enough because my intention is to be the standard, of trust and honesty. So if someone sends me the ad that they're interested in, I'm only charging $19 to verify that ad. And the reason I do that is because I want it to be economical for all.
So you're showing big integrity, and there's nothing better than helping others. What really motivates you to jump out of bed every morning, Tammy?
Well, what I do, I even created a Facebook page, and it's called Fireball Approves, and there's no space. But I research all scams and I report on all type of scams. So that's why, once again, that I named my company an umbrella, that after I saturate the market on the rental scams, I will have the ability to go into any type of scam prevention. That is my mission. And I have unwittingly become a consumer advocate. So my followers, they send me articles constantly about what the newest scams are. So I research them and I give recommendations on how to avoid them. And I'm here to tell you that there is no shortage of new scams coming out. So I keep myself in touch with what is going on in the marketplace. And this has just been such a illuminating market for, because the scammers are getting sneakier and more convincing by the day. So my motivation is to keep one step ahead of them.
And in business, it's always important to keep on growing, keep on improving, keep on learning. And that's what you're doing. And that's keeping you on top of all of these scams, Tammy. I really admire that.
Well, thank you. Someone had to do it. So why not me?
What sets What sets your business apart and what unique need are you filling for your customers?
Well, like I said, I am a consumer advocate. So I have truly become the anti-scam lady of the US, and I am branching into international. But I love your platform because I want to protect anyone coming to the United States. Once again, this is such a immense issue. We have two cyclones happening at the same time. We have technology where you may never meet the person face to face. So there's a autonomous element there. Then you have the sharing market. So when the two collides, that becomes a hotbed for the ability to be taken advantage of. So what I'm trying to do is create a platform where legitimate property owners, that they want their customers to know that they are legitimate because they understand that the scammers are out there. So they come to my website, they provide me the documentation that they are the owner of that address. And then when renters come to my website, they know that they have the confidence that these owners have already been vetted. So that helps the owners and that helps the renters. Like I said, we are just evolving constantly and coming up with new ways to combat this ever-growing problem.
And you've touched so many great points there, and that's the importance of growing and learning, because with social media, these scammers are going to keep on improving too. So that's why it's important we are all at the top of our games, eyes open, and we've got great people like Tammy to go to help and guide us through these situations. Social media, it can be so good, but used in the wrong way, it can really cause harm. And Tammy with us today helps people with stopping scams before they happen. Why is your service especially important in today's modern world?
It is so important because, and I'm going to pick on the younger generations. They have been brought up with the technology and they are more trusting than the other generations. So I find it extremely beneficial that I educate everyone to this issue, to this problem, and how to avoid it. So when I first started, one of my major hurdles was people felt like I was a fear monger, and that was not my intention. I simply want to educate the public that there are these situations happening. All you have to do is Google scams, rental scams, and I'm going to give you some tips when you're looking for rentals. And like I said, keep an eye on my business because I don't plan on just being the rental ad investigator. I am already in the area of branching my services out to different areas as well. But one of the things that I have seen over and over again is when my customers come to me, I usually hear, I wish I would have known about you sooner before I lost a couple grand on a rental that was not legitimate. Here are some red flags. You never, ever want to wire money to anyone. That is no different than handing cash over. There is no tracking. You cannot unring that bell. So, unfortunately, the people that are nefarious, they are taking that money and they are running. You're never going to hear from them again. And oftentimes, you're giving them money on an area that you're away from your comfort zone. So not only are you out of money, but now it's the chaos and the hassle and the oftentimes I talk to victims and they are so embarrassed because they may have seen the red flags, but they were so trusting. And that is not something to be ashamed of. We should all be able to trust. But unfortunately, we also have to protect ourselves. So this is the niche that I fill. Another thing that you're going to see, I was helping a family in St. Augustine, Florida. Now, my services are nationwide, but I was searching for a rental home, and the response from the scammer was just a boilerplate. And sometimes I think they are actually going to school to learn how to scam people, because the ad that I responded to, the first interaction, I knew that it was a scammer. So here's the story, and this is the red flags for your listeners, is the response was, here's the address. I am in Texas because I was in a horrific car accident. My husband is in the military, and we are just hoping to find someone that will take care of our home as well as we would take care of it. And that just amazes me because it really tugs at your heartstrings. You think, well, this is a good deal and they don't want to take advantage of me, and they just want someone who's going to be a good tenant. So I told them I was going to go by the residence, and she said, if you see a property management sign in the yard, just dismiss it because we have fired that company because they were too greedy. Well, once again, this person didn't know that she was dealing with the fireball. So we purposely went by the residence and got the number of the property manager. And I called them and they said, we know about that scammer and we don't know how to stop them. So that is the ultimate red flags, is when they're out of town. They're going to tell you that they are in the military, which is going to make you feel safer, but it's a false sense of security. They're going to tell you they are missionaries. They're going to tell you that they were in a horrible accident and you're actually helping them. These are all psychological ways to get you to trust them, even though your gut may be telling you something different.
You have really shared some great red flags, and just mentioning how they play on people's emotions. And Tammy, it must be heartbreaking to you, the amount of people that really only consider looking into your help after they have actually been scammed, whereas if they were more prepared and took the action beforehand, it would solve these problems. And it must break your heart that people only really hear about it after they have been scammed.
This is so true, Mark, and this is why I appreciate you in helping me get the information out, because I don't have any competitors. So if people don't know that I exist, they don't know to look for me. And what you're doing is helping my mission, And that is to get the information out that we don't need to just go on a gut feeling. We can actually have someone in your corner that's going to thoroughly investigate an ad before you send the money.
And our listeners definitely need to hear this. Tammy, can you share in more detail the kinds of service and products you offer and how stopping scams before they happen is so important?
Absolutely. Like I said, I have the inquiry product, and that's where if you're looking for a rental, and once again, it doesn't matter the duration. It can be the vacation, it can be the short term, like the medical professionals that travel 4 times a year. It can be a long term rental. So that service is $19. And what you're going to find out is whether or not you are dealing with the actual owner. And I modeled that after my own experience. So when I researched, how to avoid this, there was nothing there for this situation. So I created it. Then I got to thinking, hey, what about the property owners? Because they are equally impacted by the scammers. Now people don't know who to trust. So I developed a product where property owners come to me to get Fireball approved. And here's what's funny, because I am the only one doing this. We actually had an applicant that wanted to get our seal of approval to become Fireball approved. So he submitted the documents, and for the justification, the documentation that this was a legit rental, he provided the passport, the copy of the passport of the owner who was in Switzerland. So obviously he did not understand my business. So I contacted the owner in Switzerland, and that owner relayed to me that that was a previous employee of his, and that that person had no business in advertising his property. Can you just imagine the gall of someone?
You've shared so many great points, Tammy, and I'm just so glad we get to share with our audience so that people can be protected from all of these scammers. It's such a big thing, and I don't want people out there having to worry about it after they have been scammed. It's great what you are doing, and people can reach out to you for your help. I would imagine you have all sorts of client success stories, Tammy. What's one that really stands out to you?
Well, there are just so many, but I mentioned California. And that is because there is no way for the common consumer to know if they are dealing with the proper owner. So we had an inquiry of someone, they sent us the rental ad, and what we do is we contact the advertiser and we let them know that we have been contracted by a potential client. And what is your name? What is the address? So then what we do is we use our tools that consumers do not have access to. And as a private investigative firm, then we locate the proper owner. And then we make sure that they are, yes, renting that property for that rate. Because what is happening is the scammers can find these ads online, and what they do is they hijack them. And by hijacking, I mean that they copy the photographs and the information, and they list it on other platforms for a less amount. So what I do is I make sure that that ad is truly from the owner or the proper agent of the owner. And I would say that the one that really sticks out in my mind would be the single mother, because oftentimes the victims of the scams, they are just barely getting by. So that is what gets me up, is I protect those that really can't afford to make a mistake in this area. A single mother of 2 children who was just trying to find a legitimate rental. The ad was actually a foreclosed home. So oftentimes also what is happening is perception is reality. So here in the US, I see news article after news article where the scammers will actually find these empty homes, break in, change the locks, and then show you that property. So you give your money to the scammer. Now you have turned on the utilities. And a month or 2 later, you get a knock on the door from the bank saying, this is our home and you need to get out. And what is so heartbreaking to me is there is no recourse for that victim.
Yes, and it's just, I've really enjoyed listening to all of this advice, because until I had spoken to you about what you do, it really wouldn't have really entered my mind. And just the fact that you're opening our eyes to it, it must give you so much job satisfaction when you are helping these single moms and people that really benefit from your service. It must give you so much job satisfaction, Tammy.
It really does. I am truly living my passion.
How do clients typically hear about you, and are there certain life moments that usually lead to them seeking you out?
Well, I do a lot of advertising on Facebook. Now, I have to tell you that I am a bootstrapped company. I self-fund my business. So oftentimes they hear about us from others. And that is the key, is to remain relevant, to keep the information that I am dispersing, keep it easy to understand, interesting. And once again, this is just the beginning of my journey because I saw the need for it. But I have plans to actually attack all types of scams because I am the fireball and I'm just not going to put up with that.
You definitely are the fireball, Tammy. I find your work fascinating. Is there anything we did not cover that you would like to share?
Well, once again, like I said, I hope that everyone that hears about me will share our information with their loved ones, because even if they're not in the market to rent, I am certain that they know someone that is. And we just need to make sure that we share this information so that the next person doesn't have to go through this, because the ramifications of being scammed are just immense. The psychology behind it. Oftentimes, I love hearing the actual stories because then I learn from that. However, there's also a psychology behind once someone has been scammed, they are embarrassed. And what we know about is what people have shared. What about the ones that have truly been in emotional distress because of the fact that they were taken advantage of? It just is overwhelming to me that this even happens in the first place. So if people can just share our information, then they are helping to further this cause.
And Tammy, how would be best for people who are listening to connect with you? Tell the audience the best way for them to reach out for your help or to connect with you to find out more about you. What's the best way for our audience to contact you?
They can check out my website at fireballapproves.com. They can send me an email at info@fireballapproves.com. They can call me at 904-580-6740. They can also connect with me on social media. I have Facebook, I have Twitter, I have Instagram, I have Pinterest, I have LinkedIn. If they just do a search for Fireball Approves, they will be able to connect with me.
Thank you so much for being my guest today, Tammy. I have really enjoyed interviewing you. Today, I have been talking to Tammy Sorrento. Tammy is a private investigator, and we have been talking about stopping scams before they happen. Please feel free to check out Tammy Sorrento. And if you do need help with scams, rental, please reach out to Tammy Sorrento. Thank you for being my guest today, Tammy.
Mark, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, where I interview leading experts in business. Until next time, I'm your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Thank you. And until next time, goodbye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.